Malika, you already gave my whole little message here. Because if we pay attention to things the way God wants us to pay attention to things, they sort of work out. If you don't know what I do, I am a marriage and family therapist. And so I spend most of the week talking to people that hurt. What a beautiful thing to hear the stories that happen in here, but I hear just a mess all the time. This is lovely. I was blessed thinking of the good things that happen, homes and people that have been in the church, and it's a wonderful thing. But there's a scripture that we have been studying through the book of Proverbs that is 27:17, Proverbs 27:17. And it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Now, I have a friend who's going to help me with this, because every time I read this verse, I think it's a great verse for relationships, really good verse for relationships, but I always thought there was a big knife getting ready to go at my gut and just say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But you may not know, but we have a very talented person. So Renee, would you come and help me? He's the one person in here that I know that knows how to actually sharpen a knife. In those olden days, they had fire pits, and one piece of rough iron was used with another hammered onto it to sharpen the iron. They're saying they can't hear me. Oh.
That's how you sharpen a knife.
Have you ever hurt yourself doing that?
In the beginning, yeah. But with experience, you don't hurt yourself.
When I've tried to do that, I don't even want to stand close to you. That frightens me. The idea of something sharp coming at me. Okay, so did sparks ever fly off that?
No.
One of the things that it talked about in my research was that sometimes sparks happen, not with knife sharpening, but in those old fires that they had. And what we're supposed to learn today is the sparks don't hurt us, it's how we remedy them. It's not how the sparks hurt us, it's what we do to address them. Okay, no, I'm happy with that happening, because I think that's a really good reminder. Have you ever hurt your knife doing that?
Not like that, no.
But have you ever?
Yes, I have. When you slip, I chipped the knife when I slipped out of I want to cut a frozen garlic, and I slipped, and then I had a chip in my knife.
Oh, were you upset?
Oh yeah, it was a very nice Japanese knife, and I had to resharpen it, and I lost.
Just hold that up and let them see how shiny that is. Can you see? Does it catch the light so you know what his knife looks like? So if we messed up and used a knife, like I kind of in my imagination read this, we could hurt someone. Thank you so much for doing that. Is there any way to hurt that other thing?
Yeah, you could, or you can slip and you can cut in your hand. So it's very important that you take the thumb over here, that you don't cut in your right here. So when you slip, you can cut yourself. Yeah. I mean, there is a little edge here where it stops a little bit, but it could happen that you cut yourself in your hand.
But that particular instrument,
yeah.
Does that get hurt too? You hurt yourself, but does that get hurt?
Not with sharpening a knife, no.
But if you banged on a rock with it?
Yeah, then you can hurt it, yeah, absolutely.
So sometimes if we think that we grabbed the knife, but we really grabbed that, and we're bashing someone with it.
you can seriously hurt somebody, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right, thank you.
That's iron stick. I mean, I would say you could stab someone with that when you're.
You know what?
know.
That might be, yeah. Okay, so, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would tell us about knives that I might not think of or know? How often do you have to sharpen?
It depends how much you use it. And there are also different styles to sharpen a knife. I mean, it's iron on iron, but I have knives. I sharpen only with stone. They're brimstones where you sharpen them. My Japanese knives, I don't sharpen it like that because they need a special angle for the edge.
Don't go. I almost forgot my most important question. How do they get corroded? How does corrosion come into the knife?
It depends what kind of knife you have. These knives, these don't corrosion.
But mine from the grocery store.
Corrosion-free. But you can buy knives with more iron in it, and they could corrosion when you leave them wet or something. You have to oil them after use. You clean them and then you have to oil them that they don't get a corrosion. It's like a buffer where the air don't get on the iron. But not with these. These are corrosion free. It depends what kind of iron metal mixture they use for the knife.
When you first started to be a chef, did you have that nice of a knife?
Yep, that's one
Oh,
of
you were
my
supposed to say no.
That is one of no, that is one of my oldest knives because I have them since I'm in apprenticeship. So over 30 years, still working.
Anybody
when you
else have a
maintain them
30-year-old
well.
knife? That's amazing. But what I want to say about corrosion is, I'm going back to that when there's proper care and the proper intensity given to how you craft it, then you can have it a long time.
Oh yeah.
And obviously,
A life.
and you obviously know how to use that. Renee, if you don't know, is a chef, done lots of different things for the church, but I just want those of you that might not know to know that. So you notice I didn't ask my sweet husband to come up here and use a knife because that one might have been headed for me. Yeah, we are going to make some kind of YouTube or FaceTime, whatever, club with knife tricks and fire swallowing 2 weeks in a row. What I know is that people hurt. And it's not always because somebody stabbed them intentionally, but they hurt because of their family or their friends, the people they thought were their friends. They get in a job at work that cramps them, and they can't do what they need to do at work. It just went off. Okay, thank you. But that's what I want to talk to you about today. Because as long ago as the Proverbs, people were talking about us needing each other to help us be better, to help us not become corroded. I grew up in a pastor's family, and so sometimes some people in the church were noted, and it's not true here, and you're the most lovely people. They were noted for seeing everything that was wrong. And it was a kind of a blur to things that were really good in the church. So I think it's important that we figure out how to be supportive of each other, and that we figure out how to not hurt each other in that process. Because sometimes there's something that's very obvious to burn, but Matthias would never see it. And the opposite. So that's what I'm trying to talk to you about today. Within wisdom literature, in the Hebrew, this proverb that we're talking about, iron sharpens iron, uses that imagery, that picture, to show us about relationship truths. we've already talked about the grinding and all that went forward, but this proverb asserts that human growth occurs because we're engaged relationally, because we have friends, because we have siblings. And you know, it was one of my things that I thought about a lot in university. Nobody teaches us how to be in a family. You don't take a course in how to be a father. You learn how to be a father from the father that you had or the father that you wish you had had. You know, same thing for moms, same thing for grandparents. We don't teach anybody about that. And we teach, but it's unintentional. Some of you may be doing intentional things in your home, but it's part of the scripture's desire that we learn how to be helpful to each other. Now, there's constructive friction and there's destructive conflict. When I hurt someone with my words or my actions by walking out of the room or ignoring them, I'm causing a problem. There's a guy in New York, and if you've heard me talk very much ever, you've heard me talk about John Gottman. And he is a famous psychologist in New York City. He got 4 initial small apartments in 1984, and he's not a Christian. Not Christian, but we're going to use his words to talk about what we talk about today. He got 4 apartments, and he put cameras in there. And then he hired his graduate students to go and make tick marks every time certain behaviors happened. Every time somebody went, oh, and walked away, they got a tick mark. Every time somebody rolled their eyes, every time somebody went, you always say that. You always say that. You never listen to me. You always say tick mark, tick mark, tick mark. And so he collected all this data, and now, with over 97% accuracy, he can say who will not make it in relationship. Now today, we're not talking just about marriage relationships. I'm going to get to a place where I talk to you how important it is that you find good friends, that you are not hanging out on the street corner smoking cigarettes and weed or whatever else, and those people are giving you life advice. That was supposed to be a little bit funny, but it didn't make it. But maybe you're there more than I knew. Okay. So what Gottman calls these next 4 things, I don't like the name of them, but they're catchy, so you'll remember it, so I'm going to say them. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. They are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. And you know what? Christians are not immune to those things. Criticism is when we attack character rather than just trying to add something or change something or addressing the behavior. Contempt, to me, that's just personified in an eye roll, like, oh, I don't like you, I don't want to be here. And I've gotten that more than once in a while in therapy. Contempt is where you're mocking someone, where you're sarcastic, where you act like you are morally superior to the other people in the room. And then the next one is the third is defensiveness. That's when I won't let you say anything about what I've said because I'm right. I just stand up and continually defend what I have been trying to say. I protect myself and I block your input. That's defensiveness. I'm not being mean. This happens to all of us. Certain situations, certain times in life, those things just happen. But we need to work against it so that we fall into a better pattern. Now, the lovely thing about John Gottman is he didn't just give us these criticism and the 4 horsemen without remedies to that. The remedy to criticism is by addressing behaviors rather than attacking identity. The remedy to contempt is being respectful, even during a disagreement. Defensiveness, oh, this is hard for me. is remaining open to correction. And finally, stonewalling. Do you know what stonewalling is? Stonewalling is where you just have been hurt so much. It's like you take little bricks and you build up to like go just below your knees, and then somebody else hurts you and you build up to your thighs, and then finally you're just here where you can just barely see, and maybe even goes over your head, but you stonewall people out. They are not getting in. No one's going to hurt me anymore. I'm done with it. And it is a really, really common phenomenon that even though we don't know the word, we know the principle of it. So when you want to stonewall, it's a better thing to do to just say, okay, tell me again, and I'm going to try to listen to you. Stay emotionally engaged. Let them hand you a glass of water over the top or something so that you're stuck in the process with them. Healthy relationship friction reveals blind spots and negative distortions. A distortion is when we get something wrong, in the way that we're thinking. We think that it is bad, but it's not bad to everybody. But we talk about it like that, and we condemn people sometimes for it. We increase our differentiation through relationships. Differentiation is where we become more of who God intended us to be, more like our personality is. And it is a lovely, fulfilling thing, and it's pretty natural over the lifespan. But when somebody gets really hurt, and it is impossible for us to get past that, it hurts. We also need to encourage accountability. When I was first going through college, heels like 5-6 inches tall. This is not the thing now, but a long time ago. And I lived in Dallas. They were really tall and really pumps and fancy shoes, and I worked in a shoe store so I could afford them, and they wanted me to wear them. And after I'd been doing that, and then I moved, and I went to a place in Oklahoma where they never wore heels. And so I was going to basketball games and all kinds of places with my jeans and heels because that's what I'd worn in Dallas. But you couldn't wear that. So 2 of my good friends said, okay, they're on either side of me, and we're walking out of a gym, and they said, you can't wear those heels anymore. You can't wear those anymore. It can't happen. And it was not, I was like, these are expensive shoes. What do you mean? But it got to me. I still think about it because I liked what I was doing, but I still think about it. So sometimes people, in order for me to be accepted and part of this Oklahoma community, I could not wear those kind of shoes. Had to shift. It's not a big deal, but I still remember it. And so there may be things in life that sometimes where you just put your arm around somebody and say, okay, you can't do that anymore. You can't do, and you're trying to help. And when you do it with the right attitude, then people get that. Sharpening requires both truth and safety. Not just truth, but you have to feel safe with the people that are giving you the truth. Contempt of all those terms is the most dangerous because it's the one that really corrodes. And you know, the deal is you're not just corroding the relationship, but you're corroding yourself. Every time you think of, I don't like those people, I don't like this store, I don't like that church, and we let that, do you know the word fester? That's like a good Texas word. It begins to mark us up, and we hurt in relationship. Now, some of this is about you, and some of it's about how you relate to other people. And I'm asking you to take a second now and sort that out, because I don't know you know well enough to say that's a problem. But you know when you feel something and when you get agitated about things that it's conflictual for you, and that becomes difficult. That's corrosion piece. Is where contempt communicates moral superiority, strips the other person of dignity, transforms mutual refinement into hierarchy and humiliation. Does that make sense? Do I need to say that again? We've all had someone who we think acts better than us tell us something to do. We think they're smarter or have more money or have whatever thing, and we kind of cower when they say something to us, but it's a way that corrosion begins to happen. Now, our defensiveness is the way that we shield, and you do that in your relationships with your partners, with your friends. I just couldn't believe that my girlfriends didn't think I had cool shoes. I just couldn't believe that that wasn't even, these are from Dallas. You don't, it hurt my pride maybe a little bit, but I trusted them to know that they were doing something that was supposedly to help me. So when we become defensive, that's our next point. We make excuses all the time. We counterattack and we minimize our responsibility. And that corrodes our relationships because it blocks accountability and prevents repair. And that's where we're headed with all of these pieces, is that we want to be repaired. I don't know, I didn't ask Brenda if he could ever fix a knife that was chipped or broken, but could you? That's good news, especially to what I want to say. There's some things in life that you have said to you or that you say to other people and you'll never be able to forget it. It's so cruel, so mean, such a wrong time that it happened. You won't forget it, but you can forgive those people. And that will lessen, or you can ask for forgiveness, and that will lessen what you're feeling in terms of corrosion. And it can be healed. To stop being defensive, you need to listen. And if I'm ever asked back, I might just talk only about listening. Because I'm convinced when I'm talking, I'm not listening to you. And when you're talking and I'm thinking about how I'm going to prove you're wrong, I'm not listening to you. And can you think of other examples like that? If I just keep doing what I'm doing and don't really stop and look at you, then I'm not listening. And to stop the real defensiveness, we have somehow to come up with this way of just saying, okay, for a few minutes, I'm going to listen to you. Listen fully, acknowledge valid concerns, and offer a sincere apology when you're able to. You don't have to just make it up. Next point I'm going to get to is stonewalling involves shutting down, leaving abruptly, or refusing to respond. People do that all the time. Walk out of the house and don't tell their partner when I'm not about in here. But they walk out of the house and don't tell their partner or children or anyone when they'll be back. Just walk out. Could be 10 minutes, could be 30 minutes. So if you have to walk out, set a time limit. And tell the person where you're going to walk. I believe in taking a walk during a fight. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. If you have to get out of it, you can't think clearly anymore, then if you're a kid or an adult or whoever, say, I have to have some time to make sense of this. I want 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll be back. You have to go back. You have to go back. You can't just walk away and not come back to that place, because you make that other person worry about you, wonder what's going to happen. And you need to find a way that you're able to talk. Haven't you asked a question? I can ask my dear Matthias a question, and this is a good week to talk about it, because if he's watching the Olympics, he has not heard me. He does not know that it happened. And he wasn't mad at me, and he wasn't trying to prove anything. He just was doing something else, and he didn't hear me. And so it's really, really important that we figure out how to say things where we are heard. That stonewalling piece, that not to say I'm sorry for leaving and not coming back, that's important. But most of all, it causes that thing I call corrosion. And when corrosion happens, we have to get on the phone and call Renee and say, what kind of oil am I supposed to pour on this knife? Because it seems pretty much finished. Gottman's work, this guy that had the film in there and the tick marks of what registered failure in relationship, he wasn't focused. He wanted to know what was wrong, but he really wanted to know how to repair it. And so will you listen for just a second while I talk to you about what repairs this? Taking responsibility. Take responsibility for what's your fault, for what you did, for where you were. And this is a really good one. Soften your tone. He calls this getting a soft start. And I think it really helps when you really have to speak to someone. Don't walk in and say, okay, there's a problem with our money this month. There's a big problem with our money, and we're going to have to talk about it. Go in and say, Brenda, darling, how are you? Have you had a good day? Yeah, what's up? Let's talk about money. A soft start. We don't go in knives blazing. We go in and say it gently and allow that person some time to open up and hear us. If you express appreciation for the way that I manage money, if you acknowledge that I am hurt, and you re-engage with me after I'm already upset and crying and whatever else, I'm just using the weird example. If you do those things, then there's a chance that maturity can catch up with us. And instead of rupturing, we come to a place where we understand each other. Sharpening requires repeated engagement. Engagement means contact, not physical contact, but intellectual, emotional connection. Recalibration, I like that word. Sometimes we're doing something too fast or too slow and at different speeds, everyone in the family, and you just need to say, let's figure this out about how you can go this fast on Tuesday, but on Wednesday I'm going that fast, and then we have to figure these things out. Sharpening requires repeated engagement, recalibration, and persistence. We can't get through this if we don't stick with it. Final thing is discernment. Who you let shape you really, really matters. And the proverb kind of figures out that you're going to be close to iron sharpens iron as one person sharpens another. It figures that somehow we're in proximity, that we're close to each other. So there needs to be, in our closest relationships, a lot of fundamental things that we have in common. Our belief system, maybe where you live, social things and hobbies that you prefer. But most of all, if we're letting people who don't believe in God sharpen us, we're not going to get to the place that we intended to go. And that's very open for you to figure out what that means for you. I have a lot of friends who have very different lifestyles, and they are my friends. But I can't trust them to take care of my heart. I mean, I trust them to take care of my heart, but not about things that are going to draw me closer to God. Discernment and who you trust matters. With honest and regulated feedback, you need to be committed to shared growth. So, relational sharpening happens with Christ as the model of our regulated truth. Within Christian theology, relational sharpening reflects the relational posture we had with Jesus Christ. And if you didn't hear anything else that I said, what Jesus did for us, what God gave us, was relationship. He truly, truly gave us relationship. And when he sent Jesus offered us truth, all those stories in the Bible, truth, without contempt. He told people, you're not doing the right thing, but he didn't make them feel horrible about it. He just helped them along the way. He offered correction without humiliation. Oh, I wish we could make that a rule of the world. Correction without humiliation. Conviction. He convicted people. People knew they had to change their lives, but he didn't abandon them. He didn't say, oh, you really need to change that, and then walk away. He was there for the long journey that they had. Best of all, he engaged with us. He stays with us. He's not going to withdraw. We don't have to worry about that. Growth requires friction, not fiction. Growth requires friction. With the model with the knives, it takes something to keep us sharp enough to be able to cut what we're supposed to cut, to do what we're supposed to do, not to hurt anyone. Friction requires regulation. Brenda was so fast with that thing. He knew exactly how to move it and how to make that all go. Our emotions are often not that dependable, and they can be. And regulation requires humility. So I want you today, as I leave you, to think of being sharpened and refined. Sharpened and refined. And it'll help your relationships. Thank you for the privilege of being with you.